Welcome to today's stream, and those of you watching this on YouTube, welcome to the video in which we are going to be discussing the February major update to Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition. If you want to read the full extent of the entire update yourself, I'm going to leave a link in the description of the video once this goes up on YouTube. Okay, let's start. We have February 27th, 2020 game update 35584. If you have the game on either the Microsoft Store or on Steam, it should update automatically to the new update, so there shouldn't be an issue for you to actually have to download the update. Build Spotlight. The spotlight for this week's or this month's build is on the automatic scouting. Today's update comes with a bunch of exciting new features and spotlights outside of the balance changes and fixes for the game. In this update, you'll find a new feature available for your starting scout, auto scouting. Just gonna go a quick run through of this and then I'll discuss what my thoughts of it is. When you enable auto scouting from the unit's command interface, it will automatically send the scout on the same scouting pattern used by the AI. You can easily take control back by disabling auto scout or just issuing a manual command, which will take priority over the automatic behavior. Auto scout is only available for your starting scout unit and not for any scouts that you train later on after the feudal age from your stables. Note that auto scout does not currently affect all horse types. This will be fixed in a future update. So the future update will let your auto scouts on maps like Steppe, for example, also affect your horses there. Note that auto scout does not apply to other starting units spawned by the mega random map. So if on mega random, for example, you start with a spearman or a skirmisher, those will not be affected by the auto scout command. It's only when you have a scout cavalry or an eagle scout as your starting unit that starting unit will be affected by the auto scout command. It works in every part of the game, single player and multiplayer matches, as well as campaign missions. Issuing a manual command will cede control of the unit back to the player and disable auto scouting. Naturally, manual scouting will still be a lot more intuitive and accurate when it comes to understanding your opponent's strategy and the map layout early on. But for players new to the game, this is designed to ease the early game learning curve. My opinion on this: I've tested it out. If you are playing online multiplayer and your elo is anywhere over, I'd say over 950 to 1000, if your rating is anywhere over that, then you will probably do a better job scouting yourself than with the auto scout. But one place where I do see this becoming more useful is, for example, if your scout is still alive, let's say by the end of feudal age, and you're on your way up to castle age, and you want to get more vision of the entire map outside of just your base and your opponent's base, then just set your start, and it's still alive, it just happens to still be alive, then I suggest you can set your starting scout on auto scout and just have it explore the map for you while you focus on getting your economy ready and building up an army. But like it said as well, early game especially, manual scouting will still be superior to the auto scout. Then also there's the Age of Empires anniversary event to celebrate the anniversary of Age of Empires 1's release. We're celebrating the second anniversary of Age of Empires Definitive Edition this month, which means it's time to don your best Stone Age garb for the Age of Empires DE anniversary event. Starting now through March the 12th, you can unlock and complete daily challenges to earn exclusive goodies to infuse some of that classic Age of Empires charm into Age of Empires 2. Here's some of the things you can unlock over the next few weeks. You can unlock new profile icons, which are these ones below. Unique unit skins, including the classic Scout, Legion, and the Priest. And introducing a new cheat code to bring the Photon Man to Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition. That was the cheat unit in Age of Empires 1. The classic Warlord chant for your monks you can get as well. Any challenges you complete must be done before March the 12th, when the event concludes. While any profile icons and cheats you unlock are yours to keep, the mods will disappear along with the event. So the graphics will disappear, but the profile icons you get to keep. There is a list of frequent asked questions for the anniversary event. I'm not going to go through those now. If you're interested, you can go through those and you can just check it out. Then we come to the important parts of this month's update: player reporting and safety. Today's build also includes a necessary safety tool for our community: player reporting. As we continue to support and grow Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition community, there will inevitably come those who strive only to disrupt others' ability to play and enjoy the game. While many of the most egregious cases are detected and blocked by the Xbox Live and Steam platforms, it's up to the community to help maintain a safe and healthy space where automation cannot account for human creativity. The new report button allows you to report conduct violations that fall in with the following categories: cheating, griefing, inactivity by being AFK, inappropriate lobby name, inappropriate player names, offensive clan names, offensive clan tags, offensive clan descriptions, verbal abuse, and any other issues that violations that you might come across. You will also be asked to provide a note whenever you submit a report. So be sure to include any details you can about the given incident. The more information you provide, the easier it is for our support team to decide what action to take. So if you come across any of that, I know there's a lot of people that's been reporting issues of racism, sexism, plain profanity in the game, and cheating. There's been lots of instances of that being reported recently. So if you come across any of that, make sure to report it after the match concludes. There is a report button that you can use then. Account actions. If and when action is taken against an account, a message is displayed on the game home screen describing the duration of the given punishment. There are a few actions support may take based on the severity or frequency of the abuse: chat mute, temporary multiplayer suspension, or complete multiplayer ban. That will most likely end up being for cheaters or serious offenders. Actions will be taken based on the Microsoft, Xbox, and Age of Empires Code of Conduct. So be sure to review the policies if you have any questions about what is considered acceptable or unacceptable behavior. You can find those here over as well. And then the profanity filter. As many players have noted, a new profanity filter was implemented in the last hotfix to help protect against disruptive and toxic language in the game. This is a system that we are actively monitoring, tweaking, and planning for additional adjustments in the future. Unfortunately, it has become a little overzealous. You can't say stuff like shit, firstly, but that I can understand to a certain extent. But even, for example, if you are talking about bombard cannons, if you want to use bombard cannons and you want to tell your teammate in the game he should create some bombard cannons, you can't say BBC for many different reasons. Don't Google it, please. Next up, we have some game stability updates. Fix the uncommon issue where leaving a game lobby and creating a new one would cause it to load indefinitely. Fix the crash when clicking the Browse Mods tab. And basically all of these are just different crashes that have happened before, and crashes that people have been complaining about that have been fixed in this update. So you can read through all of them yourself if you'd like, but there's just quite a few crashes that they have fixed. Then the performance issues. Implemented several potential fixes to address disconnects within the first few minutes of a multiplayer match. Improved the way RAM is allocated on low-end machines in order to improve performance and mitigate crashes related to running out of memory. Improve the overall performance of the game when running the enhanced graphics pack DLC. That is also very helpful. Myself, I have the enhanced graphics pack disabled because I suffered from issues from that. So that I haven't checked it out yet, but that definitely should be helpful as well. Some gameplay updates as well. Fixed an issue where mangonels would slide in combat, allowing them to fire in directions they were not visually facing. That was a very common issue that eventually got fixed. Fixed an issue where trebuchets would not move to attack their out-of-range targets when using the old waypoint system. Villagers will no longer drop resources as soon as they are reassigned to collect a new resource. Instead, they will maintain any collected resources until they begin the new task. The collected resources can now be instantly dropped by reassigning to a new resource with control and right click. This helps everybody on every single level. For example, there's been many times where any player, you would misclick. You have let's say a villager with, let's say, carrying some food. You want to click him back to the town center, or you want to click, well, you want to send him anywhere else, and you accidentally click on a straggler tree or a gold mine. Then he immediately loses that food, and there's no way for you to get that food back. Now, fortunately, that does not happen anymore, and you keep that food until you actually start collecting a different resource. Villagers tasked to gather food from a boar will now do so consistently instead of pondering the meaning of their existence. Fixed an issue where boar's path could not be blocked once aggroed. Fixed an issue where units would occasionally ignore waypoint commands, especially I think the 5th or the 6th waypoint units would ignore for some reason, somehow. When multiple buildings are selected, technologies will now prioritize buildings that are idle or have no building queue over stacking up in a single building. Defensive structures will now prioritize attacking enemy units over buildings unless manually tasked to do so. Trebuchets will now remain unpacked when a villager is ordered to provide repairs while in the same selection group as the trebuchet. Adjusted how gate rotation functions to avoid conflicting with other hotkey prioritizations. Please note that some hotkeys will be reset to their default settings due to some of the changes in this update. The hotkey groups affected are the zoom and gate commands, as well as the ungarrison hotkey. Alright guys, and now we are up to the civilization balance, which is a big part that everybody was waiting for. And we're just going to jump in and go through the balances that has been put out in this month's update. For the different civilizations, we have the Berbers, the Genitor, which is one of the I don't want to say Berber. It is a Berber unique unit, but it's not the unique unit for the Berbers. It is the mounted skirmisher that they have. Now receives +1 PS armor. That just brings them, I think, still a little lower than a normal elite skirmisher, but it does improve them for what their actual function is. This is one of the most talked about updates in this month's update so far. The Goths infantry are now 35% cheaper in all ages. The bonus previously only applied starting in the feudal age. This will make the Goths able to drush without having to collect 10 gold, and will make it insanely strong to drush with the Goth player. So if you're playing versus the Goths, you can expect to be drushed. That's basically what it means. The Chimera's unique farming bonus is now disabled in full tech tree games. The Hunter work rate bonus that the Mongols receive has been reduced from 50% to 40%. And then the Mongols now have access to the Steppe Lancer and Elite Steppe Lancers. To top it off even, and to make the Mongols even stronger, as if they haven't been strong enough, all Steppe Lancers also benefit from the +30 HP bonus enjoyed by Mongol horsemen. Persians increase the cost of researching the Commanderan technology from 200 food and 200 gold to 400 food and 300 gold. This is still pretty cheap and will probably be increased again in one of the next updates. Then we go over to the Portuguese. The Feitoria has received an update as well. The resources generated by the Feitoria has been increased. Well, I'm not going to read through all of the numbers, but most of them have been increased from between 20% and 100% increase in the amount of resources generated by the Feitoria. The Tatars now have access to the Halberdier unit, which I guess is a good change for them, but still doesn't make them even close to being top tier. They still are a pretty weak civilization. The Teutons, as a civilization bonus, the farms are now 40% cheaper, and it was 33%. This means that the farms will now cost, I think, 36 food instead of 40 for the Teutons, and other civilizations, obviously, it costs 60 wood, not food. Starting in the Castle Age, barracks units now gain +1 armor. So your champion line and your spearman line, your militia line and your spearman line both have +1 melee armor starting in the in the Castle Age. And then the update the devs themselves have alluded to in the intro is the Vietnamese, the economic upgrades no longer cost any wood. I think Spirit of the Law has already done a video about this, and the total wood cost saved from this bonus I think is around about 1,500 wood that you save in total, which is way more than even the Huns save with their house bonus, and way more than the Japanese save by having half price mills and lumber camps and mining camps. This is one of the, if not the biggest wood bonus that any civilization has in the game, and we'll still see how this plays out and how it works out for the Vietnamese. And then the campaigns, I'm not going to read through the campaigns, guys. You guys can just pause it here if you're interested in the campaigns, just read through that. And also the achievements, if you want to read through that, you can just pause it here, check that, or you can click in the description when you're watching this on YouTube. You can click in the description on the link for the update page and go and read it yourself. I'm also not going to go through the general. That's more for single player and for scenario play as well. Map settings, the show suggested maps option will now remain toggled to your choice when you exit and re-enter map selection screen. And Regicide will now properly adjust resource numbers based on whether the host chooses low, standard or high resources. Infinite obviously still infinite. And then we go to some of the map changes. This is quite interesting, and the ones to Gold Rush you will see is most likely implemented after Gold Rush has been in the competitive pool, and they've gathered some feedback on Gold Rush from there. As one of the most popular maps when playing the Regicide game mode, we wanted to add some extra flavor to the Fortress map. This shouldn't shake things up too much, but we welcome any feedback if it turns out to be disruptive. Players now begin with the castle regardless of the game mode. Originally the castles would only spawn when you were playing Regicide Fortress, but now in any game mode, whether it's random map or Regicide, in all game modes or even deathmatch, if you're playing on the Fortress map, you will spawn with a castle. Several changes have been made to Gold Rush map in order to create a more open and aggressive battlefield. Yes, because Gold Rush was way too wallable in the edition of it that was in the competitive map pool. Forests are now split into smaller patches and player bases are now situated in a clearing. Note that the overall amount of wood on the map remains the same. Removed cliffs from the map. Predators have now been spread out more evenly across the map. Lake generation has been adjusted so lakes are smaller and do not appear too close to players. Thank you, that is a very welcome change. Extra stone and gold nodes have been adjusted to be more accessible to players. That's also a welcome change. Random map scripting, I'm not going to focus on that. Lobbies and matchmaking. Lockdown settings, which could still be altered after a lobby host readied up for the match. Match options that are hidden from the host based on the game mode will now properly hide from other players in the lobby as well. Players will now be prompted to subscribe to a data mod as soon as they join a lobby to prevent a crash triggered when downloading the mod. So now when you join a lobby where there is a specific map pool, a mod, or any other mod that the lobby host is using for that match, you will be prompted to download that mod first before just auto-downloading and perhaps crashing your game. Fixed an issue where the player color, civilization choice, team selection and ready status of other players would not update for new players joining a lobby. Fixed an issue where blind random setting would always default to and load the coastal map. Fixed an issue where the lobby settings and custom map pools would not be saved when creating a new lobby. Fixed an issue where UI elements from previous game lobbies would persist into future game lobbies. Fixed an issue where setting a lobby slot to open would close the slot and setting it to closed would open it. Fixed an issue where the lobby browser would search for games indefinitely rather than timing out with if no games were available. Fixed a rare issue where the spectator delay setting could not be changed until the server location was changed. Queuing for an auto match will no longer enable team positions in team games. Added contextual hints to the banned map screen to explain each map. Added the ability to run a ranked benchmark test from the ranked lobby screen. And now the ranked map rotation that everybody was looking forward to in the previous month's update already. They have now updated the month's map pool, and for everyone playing ranked games, this is now the map pool for this month, going forward at least. We have retained Arabia, Arena, Black Forest, and Mega Random and Nomad. Step and Gold Rush has been removed, and and Team Islands has been removed, and in the place of those 3 maps we have now gotten 4 new maps. It's Alpine Lakes, Golden Pit instead of Gold Rush, Mediterranean, and Hideout, which is like a watered down version of Arena basically. As there are now 9 total maps in the ranked rotation, we've also increased the number of map bans available to players. In 1v1s you can now ban 4 maps instead of 3, which is welcome. In 2v2s you can now ban 2 maps instead of 1. In 3v3s you can still only ban 1 map. And in 4v4s you can now ban 1 map as well, where previously you couldn't ban any maps. Let me just see. Now I'm not going to focus on any of the graphics updates, but if you're interested in that, just pause it here and have a look at that. The audio changes. There's a few interesting ones here that are pretty helpful, especially in multiplayer matches as well, in any kind of match, but in multiplayer matches as well. Using shift and period or shift and comma now plays the selection sounds for the unit or building selected, or plays the action failed sound if no unit is found. The under attack and under monk attack sounds have been redesigned based on community feedback, and they are more clear now as well. Unique buy and sell sounds will now play when trading goods in the market. Updated the sound effects for the harbor and the longboat. Increased the volume of siege rams attack sounds. Fixed an issue where cavalry and camelry did not include their rider death sounds when killed. Wild horses and camels now have death sounds. Adjusted the attack sound delay for conquistadors and several other ranged units. Corrected several instances where ranged units were not using the correct attack sound, and the sounds of arrows being shot from buildings are now more succinct. And then there's been quite a number of updates to the AI. I'm not going to focus on these. I'm focusing mostly on the updates that are important to the multiplayer and the online multiplayer community. These do not feature that much in that discussion, so I'm just going to pause on these. If you want to read through these, you can read through them now. Just pause the video over here, or you can check the update out yourself online. That's under the AI. If we look at pathfinding issues we have always had in Age of Empires, and I think we will always have going forward as well, but at least they are still working on pathfinding. Continue to implement improvements to guard against units passing through solid buildings, resource nodes, and other normally impassable objects. Fixed an issue where AI units set to attack move would ignore the order after attacking and killing an enemy unit along the path. Then there's also been some updates to the scripting, which I'm not going to touch on. And then the user interface. I'm just going to scan through this quickly. The Krepos now properly denotes that it increases the population cap when constructed. Added an in-game error message when the servers are down for maintenance. Please note that this does not yet include in-game messaging when counting down to a planned service outage. The history screen now lists civilizations by their localized name rather than the order dictated by their English names. Attempting to save a game using the same file name as another saved game will now prompt you to overwrite the old file. Previously, the save prompt would close without saving the game. Added a copy button to the multiplayer lobby to copy the game ID to your clipboard for easy sharing. The game ID of the current lobby is now displayed to all players joining a lobby, including the host. The Wonder countdown will now disappear as soon as the Wonder is destroyed rather than waiting for the Wonder's destruction animation to complete. Added a hotkey to train the 10 free Elite Kipchak unlocked when a player researches the Cuman Mercenaries technology. The total number of completed games are now tallied properly in the multiplayer profile. at last they've fixed that. So hopefully I will see if it is properly fixed. Researched units and technologies will now display properly in the in-game technology tree. Fixed a bug where a farm's foundation outline would not display when the terrain grid display setting was disabled. Fixed a scaling issue with the terrain grid when zooming in and out. Fixed an issue where the loading screen would fail to hide itself after loading into a match. Fixed an issue where losing population supporting buildings and then losing units would stop the population counter from flashing to inform you that additional units cannot be produced. Fixed a rare bug where discarding changes in any settings menu could cause issues when navigating to the hotkeys menu. Fixed an issue which prevented tooltips from appearing on the statistics screen. And then localizations, I'm not going to touch on that. That is for players playing the game in multiple languages. You can read through that yourself if you'd like. You can pause it and read through that. Down modding as well, we're not that interested in. If you're into modding, if you're into the modding or the scenario editor scene, then make sure you can pause here, read through that. There are a few useful changes here as well, a few notable changes, so make sure to read through those if you're interested. Otherwise, that is it for this update. Like I said, guys, those of you watching this on YouTube, if you want to give your input in any future updates, make sure to go and check the update down below. Click on, let me show you guys quickly just to make sure, click on one of these links, either the official ageofempires.com forum or the Steam forum. Also, they take any feedback from, and the Discord server, they also receive feedback from that. Make sure to go to those. Give your feedback if you have any feedback regarding any of these issues or any other issues you might have in the game. Go and give your feedback, and that will be the best way for you to actually get what you want in the game to be in the game. And that is it for this video. Remember to subscribe by clicking on my face to the left. To watch the last video I uploaded, click on the top video on the right. If you'd rather see what YouTube thinks you'd like to watch, click on the bottom video. So until next time, happy gaming.